Hello and welcome to the No Balls podcast. I'm your host Patrick McDonald with me co-host Sheldon Kaufman. Today is our third bi-weekly NBA season update where we go over some storylines evolving throughout the league. This is the episode recorded on November the 22nd, about 6 weeks into the season. We got a couple interesting things going on around the league right now. NBA in-season tournament has started. It's producing some pretty fun games. I'm sure they're about to only get even better as the final group play games progress to start happening, and then eventually the elimination games. Before we had recorded, you had mentioned asking me a random question before every podcast. Do you have a random question to ask?
Yeah, I got. This one's gonna, I'm gonna start you off with a big one here.
Okay.
This is gonna be, alright. What college did the player who scored the first NBA point go to?
What? Okay, that's a really good one.
I'll give you a hint.
Can I get the year that the
give you a hint.
first
Yes.
point was scored?
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you a hint. This team is not not a Power 5 conference anymore.
Oh.
I believe they are. I think they're FCS. I want to say, but I think they're mid-major too. They could be mid-major.
Okay.
And they're from the. I'll give you a region. They're in the Northeast.
Okay, that kind of was about the direction I was gonna go. Does Ivy League count as Power 5?
Well, it's not Ivy League.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that really helps me because
he played in 1947. So it was 1941 was the first. 1941 he scored the first bucket.
Okay. This is where my
and he
knowledge
was on, and he also played for your New York Knicks at one point.
Oh, great. This is where my lack of NBA knowledge comes to bite me. Or not NBA, NCAA knowledge comes to bite me. Originally, my first instinct was to go with an Ivy League school because, I don't know, that's just how it felt like all major sports probably were back in the 40s. Really, I have no idea. Who is it?
All right, so this team back in the day was a powerhouse at the time. All right, now they're not. But it's Long Island University, Patrick. The Long Island University Sharks. That's where he went to.
Okay.
That's where he went to college. So.
Okay, I don't know who it is.
I think they won. It was Aussie Shireman. Scored the first.
Baylor
bucket.
Shireman?
No, not Baylor Shireman. It was Aussie. Aussie Shetman.
Okay.
Sorry, Aussie Shetman.
Okay. That's a really good one. You stumped me on the first question.
Next one will be more up your alley. I'll give you a fair shake.
Okay.
Next one.
Yeah, that was a crazy trivia question to get off the rip. Was not ready for that one. All right. First, let's start with the current NBA season. Important storylines that we have. My first one is that the Cavaliers finally lost a basketball game. They got up to 15-0 to start the season. They lose to the Celtics. How much of the Celtics-Cavs game did you watch as I'm frantically off the screen?
Not as much as I should because I had class. I had Spanish class at 7:00, so I didn't get to catch much of it. But I did see. I saw that I saw like the last little stretch near the end when Mitchell was trying to make a comeback. But Garland, are you going to go ahead and talk about the game or?
I mean, the main storyline I had here was the Cavs lost. I wasn't gonna take much of this game. Like Darius Garland had a stinker, but like I'm not gonna say that because of this one game. Garland's cooked for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, no.
21.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to mention the fact that they lost because it was a point of contention last time we did this that they were 9-0. So I feel like that was an interesting storyline to start with. Um, Let me hear, what is one of the big things that have caught your eye to
Well,
start the year?
I'll stick with the Cavs, and it's Ty Jerome for me. I mean, he's been playing really good, Patrick.
Yeah,
He's averaging 11 points per game, but let me just, especially recently, he had 29 against the Pelicans. He had 24 against the Hornets. He's giving them really, really solid minutes, and I don't even know if we talked about this guy that much um, on this team in the preview, or else I wasn't really considering him to be a big factor, but he's been playing lights out. He's looking like one of the better backup point guards in the league. So I just wanted to say he's been having a good little stretch, especially over the last 2 weeks.
yeah, I agree. Like, as somebody who really did like Ty Jerome as a player in the previous seasons, I thought Craig Porter Jr. had 100% taken over the backup point guard reins over there. So I think I briefly had mentioned him. If not, then man, I should have stood on my opinion that I like Ty Jerome. But even this is far better than I could have assumed Ty Jerome could have produced. As somebody who did really like his game, he just he protects the ball really well, and he's a pretty solid passer, and that's really big for them because they need this type of production from him.
Especially if Garland has like a bad game or something, you can put him in there for some help.
And yeah, they really needed that the other night. Um, I mean, Garland had an off day, but I mean, Ty Jerome can step up in a ton of spots off the bench. It helps them keep solid offense out there, and he's not the smallest guy out there. He's 6'5" ish, bigger guard. Yeah, gives them a lot of good production. I really like the Ty Jerome breakout to start the
Yeah.
year.
Also, he had God, I should have read. He had like 6 threes in the first half against the Pelicans, right? That game I mentioned where he went off. I think he had like 6 threes in the first half. So I mean, just really, I mean, really good stuff for the Cavs. You know, you're already playing so well, and now you're getting this really great production out of the backup point guard.
Yeah, and he went lost under our eyes because he missed basically a season and a half with a foot injury, that like the Embiid injury that he had at the start of the year of his career. That's what Ty Jerome had the previous year. Uh, yeah, the Ty Jerome's been awesome. Uh, what else? What else? I mean, you had mentioned the Pelicans. One of my storylines was the Pelicans
Uh,
just all died.
yeah,
Uh,
but like, what?
Did you see the start? I mean, you've definitely seen the starting lineup going around with Elfrid
Yep.
Payton, Brandon Ingram, BJ Boston, uh, Yves Missy, and then I don't even remember who the last guy is. Uh, every Pelicans player, it seems, is hurt. We mentioned it going into the season that Trey Murphy was going to be out. He actually came back. I think he got hurt again. Um, Zion predictably got hurt. Herb Jones gets hurt. CJ McCollum and DeJounte Murray get hurt. Their whole team's out. They literally signed Elfrid Payton. I had seen he had played an NBA game in over 900 days, and
I
he
think they
started for
signed
them
him
the
that
other night.
morning. I think they signed him that morning, and he started that night for them.
Yeah, the
Like,
Pelicans, and they're 4-12 too, right? It's not like the Thunder, who have had every center get hurt to start the season, who at least got off to a 10-2 start. No, the Pelicans literally just they got off to a rough start, and then their medical staff failed on them too. So it's just I don't know what to make of this. It's probably cooked for the season, maybe. The Pelicans are, so
it's
rough way to start
unfortunate.
the year.
I expected a lot of people to be healthy, and obviously that's not happening. And yeah, I mean, this is a team that I don't know, because when they get back, when they get everyone healthy, I just don't think they'll be able to be. They won't be bad enough to be be a 1 seed, but I think they or be the number 1 pick for the lottery draft, like have the best odds. But I can seriously see this team being a lottery team for sure, especially the way they've been playing.
Yeah, I mean, the West is so good, right? I think as of right now, the Spurs are the 12th seed with a 500 record. In the Eastern Conference, I think the 4 seeded Nets are the Nets the 4 seed, or the four
They're
seed oh, the 5 seeded Heat are 6 and 7. So um, there's clearly a discrepancy. You know, we had said it preseason that we don't think it's necessarily a talent thing. We just think the top of the East is very talented and the bottom of the East isn't. That really changes when two of the teams we had at the top just go to shit instantly in the Eastern Conference. And the Pelicans are now the team out in the Western Conference, it feels like right now. Uh, what's another interesting storyline you have picked up early on?
um. I'll go Dyson Daniels defense. I'll say Dyson Daniels defense. It has been insane, um, and he's looking like a legit DPOY candidate. I don't remember. I don't know the last time there was a DPOY guard. I don't know if that happens that much. Pat, you can help me out here. Does that happen
Barely.
that much?
Marcus Smart
Yeah.
did it like 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, it had maybe been in the 90s the last time there was a defensive
Yeah,
player of
with
the year
Gary
guard.
Payton, but he has three. He's averaging. He's averaging. Sorry, he's averaging
Four
three point
steals, it
one
feels
steals.
like.
Averaging 3 steals right now, and then over his last 10, he's averaging 3. I mean, he's been a defensive demon. And it's not only against guards; he's like coming off his men to pick balls off. Whenever I saw this one where Vooch was like holding the ball, trying to set up a play, and Dyson Daniels came out of nowhere and just poked it for him. This is a team that you were high on at the beginning of the season. They look like they look good. Is it weird to say that the Hawks look good? But I mean,
Mhm.
this is a
I
decent team.
Yeah, I had a whole section called the best shitters, which is where I was going to talk about the Hawks and the Pistons because
Okay.
they look like some very good bad teams right now. As my phone goes to the floor, um, Daniels has been kind of like really fun. I'm here to pat myself on the back because I did say this was
Yep.
in my literally our first player-based segment in this podcast was me saying, "Hey, this Dyson Daniels acquisition is a lot bigger than people think it is," and like saying this, like he's a great defensive playmaker. I watch every Knicks game. Basically, I've missed probably 6 quarters this season. Um, every team, every team traps and doubles every pick and roll with Jalen Brunson with the ball. There's 2 teams that haven't done it. The Suns didn't do it the other night. They got torched. The Hawks didn't do it, and it worked because Dyson Daniels is really good at the point of attack defensively. Um, Maybe I have a little more questions about his team defense, but like he can get into passing lanes. He can disrupt drivers with reaching from the nail. Uh, this guy looks great defensively. Um, Probably an all defensive candidate. I don't know how much of a buzz he's going to get for defensive player of the year just because the Hawks are in a great defense and he's a guard. There's a lot going against him there, but I do like what I'm seeing out of Dyson Daniels, and I'm glad that we're seeing it for sure. Um, with the rest of the Hawks, do you want to talk about the rest of the Hawks a little bit?
Yeah. What do you want me to? What do you want to talk? What do you want to? What do you want me to talk about it? What do you want me to say
Uh,
about it?
well, Trey Young's missed a couple games. Other
Trey,
than
Trey Young's
Trey Young,
efficiency, I think, is a little bit of a problem.
he's had a rough start. I
He's had
think
a really putting up a lot of empty point stat lines. Like, but when I say empty stat lines, he's dropping like 10 off of like 3 for 11 shooting or 3 for 13.
yeah,
Like, he's having a lot of games like that, and it's hurting them. But what were you about to say about him?
yeah, and this is the thing with them. I feel like this team's so deeply constructed to have their success drive from Trae Young. The fact that he's missed a couple games, and a couple of the games, like he's kind of just shot terribly, and they've still had decent success. I think they're 7-8, or is that another near 500
7 and 9.
team? 7-9. Okay, the fact that they've still had decent success with like 10th percentile Trae Young production, I think is like really a strong
And
sign for this team.
another thing is
Um,
Bogey's. You know, Bogey's like getting eighth man rotation minutes. I don't really know what the whole story is there, but that's something that's been interesting to me.
Bogey came into the year hurt. I remember that.
Okay,
He missed a couple games. He's probably getting minutes restricted right now. If I had to guess, they'll probably play him up a little bit. But for a lot of the time, like Trae Young was their only offensive creator, like at all. Um, and I think that's really hurt their offense. But they look a lot better defensively. You think about all the wings that they have. I think they can really play some defense. And I think Jalen Johnson looks. We predicted him more as an offensive player, but he looks awesome defensively too. Him and Dyson Daniels, I think, are a great defensive duo. Uh,
yeah, Johnson's starting to find his own bag a little bit offensively too. So
yeah,
like score on
I'm
his
I'm
own.
I'm really intrigued with the Hawks. We'll definitely talk about them more. Pistons. I just wanted to mention Cade Cunningham's doing really well. Uh, they're starting to figure some stuff out. Uh, Defensively, they look a lot better, even with Asar Thompson out. Um, we're just going to keep our eye on the Pistons. I don't really think they're going to be a serious playoff contender, but uh, it's good to finally see some type of competency in Detroit. Um,
For sure.
I have two more teams specifically that I want to talk about. Uh, do you have any other ones that you have, or any other storylines?
I do have storylines, but it's
Okay.
stuff that I can like. It's like I have a couple that I can just rattle off real quick. It's just kind of like
Yeah, let's hear some of those real quick.
so. Braun had his triple double streak, as we all know. I think it was 4 games, right? He
Yeah,
had a 4 game streak. Really
four
impressive
games.
stuff. Um, I'm a MJ GOAT guy, but every day it makes it harder. Every day the season goes on, it makes it harder because it's incredible what this guy's doing at this late in his career. Russ got 200 triple doubles. Great achievement for him. You know, he gets a lot of hate, so good achievement for him. Um, and the Spurs played the Wizards. Jordan Poole dropped 42 in that game. Wemby had 50. I think it was Wemby's career high. Uh, he's been shooting the three a lot, which a lot of people aren't too like. I know I've been seeing like a lot of stuff from the public saying that why are they doing this, but he's starting to improve a little bit on 3 pointers for sure, and he dropped 50. The Spurs are a really interesting team, as you mentioned. They're above 500 right now. They haven't had Wemby for the past couple games. Zach Collins has been hooping for
Mhm.
them. Uh, Giannis dropped 59 and 14 against Detroit and let his slang. If you didn't see the celebration, um, yeah, I'll let you go for now. I got some other stuff,
Yeah,
but those are the ones I just wanted to rattle off real quick.
the Spolstra timeout,
Yeah, I
and
also had the Spolster timeout. Yeah,
that was probably like the biggest irony ever, because I think every person who really like does this NBA hardcore thing will say Spolstra's the best coach in the league, and
yeah.
just in a in season tournament game for him to just blank like that was crazy.
Do you think
I
this is
had
going to
three
be like?
teams actually. Okay, what were you saying?
I was gonna say, do you think this is going to be like a thing for a while? That like it's going to be a mark on him for a while, or people are just going to forget about it? I don't think
I
it's a
don't.
big deal. I just think it's funny. I mean, it was
I
stupid.
think if he was on a more high-profile team than the 2025 Miami Heat, I feel like this would be a big deal, but I doubt
So
that
like
this will end up
so
really
if
coming back to bite them.
like Kenny Atkinson did it,
For the
and
Cavs, yeah.
you think like, damn, that's crazy.
If Kenny
I mean,
would
I
have,
think it would be like I think it would be like a big deal, but like, I guess it was an NBA Cup. Yeah, I don't know. It's just
let's say this, if Kenny Atkinson in one of their games against Milwaukee, preferably the last one that came down to 3 points, instead of getting fouled and shooting 2 free throws to secure the game, they call a timeout, and
yeah,
they don't have a timeout, and then they give the ball in a technical free throw, and then they lose their 8-0 streak or whatever it was at that point. I feel like that would obviously be a lot more. I just think this Miami team's going to be a playing team anyway. Like, I don't think there's much pressure on them. Uh, and Spoelstra will coach them into so many other games that it probably doesn't matter. Uh, People will be like, remember when Spoelstra did this? And I think it'll be really funny to look back on. The 3 teams I had, I'll talk about 2 of them real quickly, then we'll get some of your storylines, and then I'll talk about the last team right before we get to your MVP ladder. Um, the Suns and the Magic, they have both had similar injury cards that they've had. However, the Magic have excelled since Paolo Banchero's been out, and the Suns, let's just say they don't look very good since Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal have been out. I think on the broadcast the other day they said they hadn't scored over 100 since KD and Beal had gone out against the Knicks. They did get that just because it was such a high-scoring game. Suns, how do we didn't talk about them 2 weeks ago when they were like the next team for both of us. How did we feel about them before this little stretch, and how do we feel about them after this rough stretch that they've had?
before the stretch, obviously I thought they were a top 4 team in the West. I still think they are once they're healthy. I mean, but that's like the biggest thing. You lose KD and Bradley Beal, right? That's 27 points and 17 points gone for your team. You are a team centered around 3 stars. Everyone else is vet minimum or not getting paid a lot of money. So when 2 of like that, Beal and Durant probably take up like 50% of the contract, right?
It's more. It's
Yeah,
more.
guys making like are out, you're not gonna do good. Devin Booker is great, but he can't carry this team. Like the other Suns teams, he could do something a little bit with, but I mean, because like you're relying on Grayson Allen to go out there. You're relying on Okogie, Royce O'Neal, who are all great basketball players, great scorers. When they're getting past the ball for open threes, or when KD has 30 and Beal has 25 and Booker has 27, and no one gives a fuck about if Royce O'Neal is going to get a wide open layup or some
Yeah,
bullshit.
please.
Like, it's not worth it. Yeah, like, please give the ball to Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen. Let them shoot it. Your whole team goes under. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw it last year, Patrick. The Suns weren't good. What happened? Beal, Booker, and Durant missed time. I said before the season, this Suns team is top 3 or top 4 when they're all healthy. But when they're not,
So,
it's and it's hard because in this conference, you don't have the luxury of being the Heat, and you're probably guaranteed a playoff spot, even though you'll be shitty. Like you're not a good team. You know how many play-in teams, realistic should be playing teams, are going to be playing in the playoffs at the end of the year for the
do.
East? A lot, and there's going to be a lot of teams. No, like teams that could be like that are at play-in quality.
Yeah.
Are going to be like in the playoff picture. But for the Suns, they don't have that luxury, and if they don't get Beal and Durant back soon, they could have a serious problem where they fall too far too quick. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about it for sure.
With the Suns specifically too, I feel like currently as their roster's constructed, Durant is the piece that I feel like it hurts the most to lose. If you lose
Hmm.
Devin Booker, if you lose Bradley Beal, you have the other one, and then you still have Tyus Jones, Monty Morris, who are serviceable NBA point guards. You can control the ball a little bit. Durant, they kind of need that switchable guy who can still spread the floor. He can play some small ball five, which they've really needed him to do a lot more because Nurkic has been horrible. Plumlee's, you can't ask too much out of Plumlee. So then, are you relying on Oso Iguodaro, right? Like they need
And
those
that's
small
not,
ball
yeah.
Durant lineups. Ryan Dunn's been a crazy great rookie this past season. Um, Other than that, like they need Kevin Durant because otherwise it doesn't matter that you have Royce O'Neal and Ryan Dunn who give you positional size. You can't play either one of those guys. You can't play both of those guys in small ball five lineups, right? You need the third guy, and this roster currently like needs Kevin Durant out there for them. Um, it's just I think once KD comes back, they'll probably be fine, and when Beal comes back, they'll be even better. As of right now, it's a wash right now. They're gonna get cooked a lot of games. Uh, they have some juice still. Budenholzer's like a great regular season coach. I'm just concerned, especially with the defense, but the offense hasn't been good either. And I thought they would at least maintain a solid offense. Uh, Not been the case. Um, Orlando, they're a team that kind of makes their money on the defensive side of the ball anyway. I would have thought missing their their number one offensive player would kind of just sink them a lot. But luckily they have a direct clone of Paulo Banchero, a German clone in Franz Wagner. Uh,
Yeah.
he's been so awesome since Paolo's been out. I had made the point in my top 50 rankings that Franz is like even better than Paolo when Paolo isn't on the floor. When Paolo's not on the floor, Franz is better than Paolo in general. I think was the argument that I had tried to convey. Um,
Yeah.
Overall, we can't say that overall he is, but we've kind of seen more of that
Because
this
he's not.
season.
Yeah.
That Franz and Paolo, maybe they're not. Maybe they got some Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown to them, where their skill sets are a little redundant, but they're still awesome. And we're seeing the best out of Franz Wagner that we've ever seen in his NBA career. He's starting to even figure out the shot a little bit. Uh, Took an off the bounce game winner against Anthony Davis the other day. Like that was a crazy shot. Um,
Yeah.
any
So sorry.
What do you have anything else on these two teams, Suns and
Yeah. Well, I was so one of my things was that Wagner has been hooping. Like you said, just absolutely crazy. Talking about the shot, what I said before the season is for Franz to make that next step, he's just got to get that 3-point shot down. And he's pretty much, I mean, I think he's definitely improved it from last year. He's already at 35% right now. And he's shooting volume 3-pointers too. He's not just taking 2 or 3 a game. He's This is a team that I think me and you both thought that they were going to be really bad once Paolo went out, especially after the first couple games when it did look really bad. But the big men have stepped up. Gogo Badazzi and Mo Wagner have been playing really well. Jalen Suggs kind of came out of nowhere. Has been what I think what me and you both thought KCP was going to be for this team. He's been doing good if he can just stay efficient. Because if he's on, he's a really good 3-point shooter for that team. Anthony Ballack has been getting minutes. This is a fun Magic team, especially when they get Paolo back. And they've been doing really good. They've been making, like we said, the Suns haven't been able to do anything, but the Magic have. So, very interesting.
we like what we're seeing out of Orlando. Now that we've gotten some distance into the season, they're the 4 seed. I kind of regret pushing them down in our preseason rankings, but I did have Philly and Milwaukee ahead of them. They suck. Either way, more storylines. Let's hear more of them.
All right, so Shy went for 45 against the Clippers. I think it was last week or around the last week timeline. He's been really putting the team on his back while Chet is out, and now actually Isaiah Hartenstein's back. We saw his first game a couple days ago. Um, and then I think the game of the last couple weeks has was the Klay Thompson's reunion in Golden State. Just an absolute thriller of a game, 120 to 117. Klay Thompson showed out. He had 22 points, shot 50% on 12 three-pointers. But, dude, Curry was unbelievable. I mean, did you watch the game?
Yep, I'm glad. It was
Just insane stuff.
yeah, in season tournament
He had
game.
30. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
We're good.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
in season tournament, they had the captain hats. Clay's return to Golden State. I was like, man, I hope this is a good game. If it's not, it just ruins the moment, man. Like, it was a great game. I think I texted you. Steph Curry and Draymond look like they're 27 again.
Yeah,
Those guys
Draymond.
playing ridiculous, man. Like, I thought this aging
Dude,
thing was
Draymond's been
just for
playing good
LeBron. Like, it's
basketball
for
too.
everybody. Draymond,
Sorry, we're talking over each other right now.
um, if we were to make a defensive player of the year ladder, like Draymond has to be up there. Like he's playing at almost his 2022 level, where he probably should have won defensive player of the year. Uh, just this is an insane renaissance for really the entire organization. I thought we were pretty high on the Warriors, and I don't think we really saw this as a possibility for them. Uh,
Yeah. Also, is it just me or has Draymond been shooting threes like way more this year and like actually making them?
he's been a lot better, to
Yeah.
say the least. Like you're
Because
still
usually
gonna let him shoot.
when you see those Draymond Green like over like 1.5 threes made, you usually slam it out under. But, like that's not something you can do this year, man. He can make he'll pop off for like a calm little three point game, just like on a random Tuesday night. But yeah, this Warriors team is definitely interesting. They're near the top of the West. I think they're one or two, maybe three in the Western Conference
They're
right
one
now.
right now.
They are one. Okay.
Yeah,
A couple other things. Oh, LeBron's shooting 41% from the 3 point line. I thought that was just really interesting. He's kind of turned into a 3 point sniper. At this point of his career too, it's kind of weird. And then a couple. Norman Powell and the Clippers have been really good, and they don't even have Kawhi Leonard. And by really good, I mean they are 9-7, but in this conference, that's really impressive. They're 9-7. Norman Powell is looking like the most improved player right now. Uh, so he's averaging 23 points per game. He's dropping 31 points against the Thunder. He's dropping 31 points against the Kings. You know, he's doing really good stuff, and he's like a really good 3 point shooter, and he makes very difficult shots. Once the Clippers get Kawhi back, this is a legit team. I think, in my opinion. You're shaking your head, but
I don't know how it's happened, man. Kawhi went down right after we made the predictions episode. Like my take was gonna be perfect, and they were gonna be the 13th seed. Norman Powell said, "You're right about volume scoring, that it sucks because everybody can volume score in the NBA." That's what Norman Powell said. He said, "I can score too." And you know what, Norman Powell? Damn right you can. Like, I mean, I feel like we've talked about Norman Powell a lot because we both watch the Clippers a lot because they're on late at night. They're always the later night game. I mean, I feel like the thing that we've always repeated among each other is we always thought that like this isn't absurd for Norman Powell to do. Like he's been a very good volume scorer, especially in the with the Clippers the past couple seasons. We just never thought like he would have the opportunity to do this type of a thing, uh, unless he went to a really poor team. But like he's doing it here. He's impacting winning, just by putting up a ton of points. Norman Powell's awesome. Uh,
yeah. Now I'm just gonna go over this kind, or I'm just gonna mention a couple guys that have been balling out recently. Some rookies, 2 rookies and a sophomore. First guy is Grady Dick in Toronto. I mean, it is Toronto, so who cares? But he, but he's averaging 18 points per game, a huge jump in points per game from last year. And he's averaging 30, and he's shooting 34% from the 3-point line. Really good wing, really good. He's looking like a really good draft pick for them. And while they still develop, they're still a young team. They're one of those kind of good bad teams where they're always playing teams really close. I definitely wouldn't put them in the Clippers or Hawks stratosphere, but yeah, Grady Dick has been balling out recently. And then this is the guy that came out of nowhere, and now he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year, and that's Jared McCain. I mean, we talked about him. We were pretty high on him in his in our assessment of him from the draft. He's averaging 15 points per game, Pat, and really, I think that was hindered from his stats earlier in the year because he's been on a tear recently. Starting from November 8th, he had 18 points, 27, 23, 34, 29, 20, and 20. He's shooting in all of those box scores, there's a 40% or 50% in front of the 3-point percentage. And he's been able to drive, too. There's been, 4 highlights. I keep seeing highlights of him dunking on, people. It's crazy. I don't like Jared McCain. I am kind of starting. I don't like him because of him at Duke. I hated him at Duke, but he's looking really good. He's looking really good on the 76ers, and he's probably going to win Rookie of the Year. And then the last guy I'm going to talk about really fast is Dalton Knecht. Do you have anything on Dalton? Do you want to say anything about Dalton Knecht real quick?
I'll quickly go on the Jared McCain thing because you have to clarify why you don't like Jared McCain because
I don't like him. I don't like it. It's not because of the fingernail stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I don't like it. That's not why. It's just I just hated him. Him and Filipowski were. I hate every time I turned my TV, I had to watch that. I was like, but yeah, but Dalton Knecht.
Dalton.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had a really hot week. I think both of them are just they're probably having what will be their best weeks of their rookie season right now, and it's awesome. Dalton Knecht, I feel like this is the best coach in rookie pairing, of all time. You give probably
But Knecht can score a little more, or drive a little more, finish more inside.
Yeah. You get JJ Redick, who 20 years ago was the best scorer in college basketball, and then his rookie is Dalton Knecht, who was last year the best scorer in college basketball. And they do it in similar ways. I feel like Knecht was probably a lot better of a creator in college, and he's a lot bigger and a better athlete than JJ Redick is, and obviously is, but was back then as well. JJ Redick's such a detail-oriented coach that he's going to get guys like Dalton Knecht really good looks, and this is just a perfect fit. I love it. I'm sure you have a lot more stuff specifically to read off on Dalton, so I'll let you go.
I mean, I think that both these guys are just finally getting opportunities, and I think that because of these hot stretches they're off of, they're going to keep getting opportunities, especially with Dalton Knecht. His big breakout game was against Utah where he dropped 37, and I think the coach said very famously, everyone knew that he was going to shoot it except the guys on our team. He shot 12 3-pointers, shot 75% on those 3-pointers. He's been dropping 27, 17. He's shooting 52% from the field, and he's shooting 46% from 3 as a rookie. We knew that he was going to come in there and put in great numbers. I think he was one of the guys that led the NCAA in 3-point percentage last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Very likely. I know Reed Shepherd led college basketball last year, but Knecht certainly had a much tougher shot diet. Knecht just looks awesome. He's definitely overqualified for the role he's playing in, and I think that's really helping him because he's suddenly he's a volume, high difficulty 3-point shooter, and it just brings so much for this Lakers offense. I think they're going to shift towards him starting. Like, if
Yeah.
they haven't already done it in the past couple days, they're going to do it very soon. Because they need some versatility with their offense. I think D'Lo and Reeves are a little redundant there. Connect just looks so great out there. He's a knockdown shooter. Uh,
Real
uh,
quick, I just have one. Do you have something?
Go ahead.
Or
Go ahead.
go to the MVP ladder? Is there anything?
What did you have before the MVP ladder that you were going to
Well,
say?
I was gonna just say the last like storyline I think that we could have got was just all the star players getting injured. It's ridiculous this year.
Yeah,
Luka just went down. Chet just went down. Um, we haven't seen Kawhi play. We haven't seen Porzingis play. You can name some
Paul
Paolo,
George.
Paul George. Yeah, Paul George just got hurt again. Maxi's is he back? I saw. I swear I saw him play. I might be
I didn't
tripping,
think he
but
was back yet.
I must be tripping. But yeah, Maxi has been out. He's missed some time. It kind of
Yep.
it's just sucks, man.
Yeah, Jokic missed a game or two this past
Wemby's
week.
missed. Wemby's missed the past 3 games, I think.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm gonna actually go to my ladder since we were just talking about some of the younger players. Um, we'll come back to the MVP ladder.
Now
We'll
this is
introduce.
the new never. I don't even know what this ladder is for the people
Yes,
watching. This is a complete surprise to me, so I'm very excited.
yeah. So this is the rookies who I think are going to have great careers ladder.
Okay, I like this. I like this. So this is not a
Maybe,
rookie of the year ladder.
yeah.
This is a who will
So,
go on to have a great career. All right.
but here's the criteria. You got to play a lot this year to get onto consideration for the ladder. So, like, Reed Shepard has barely played for Houston. He's in and out of their rotation, getting 10th, ninth man minutes down there in Houston. He wasn't really in consideration. I want to get more playing sample time for Reed Shepard. There were a couple other guys who got thrown out. Devin Carter, I think he would definitely probably be on here. Um, he's probably out until February with a shoulder injury. Um, Definitely a lot more guys who just haven't gotten that much playing time. I'm going based off of what I see. How do I feel like they're going to have good careers? Um, at the bottom, I kind of cheated a little bit. At the 5 spot, I have Ryan Dunn slash Donovan Clingan. I wanted to include Ryan Dunn. We already talked about him. So I'll
I
talk
like
about
that.
Donovan Clingan. Uh, Clingan, he's in a very interesting front court situation with DeAndre Ayton and Robert Williams. Clingan looks good. I believe he's averaging at least 2 blocks a game. The defense when he's on the floor hasn't been very great. Some of that's definitely defensive talent among teammates. That being said, they are a slightly better defense when he's off the floor. I still really like the rim protection. And then offensively, DeAndre Ayton averages, I don't know, a pretty efficient actually, like 16 and 10 at least. It's probably more than that. They're better offensively when Donovan Clingan's on the floor. And this guy's such a great screen setter. He already looks like a pretty solid passer. I'm really liking what I'm seeing as Donovan Clingan. Um, Zachary Richichet, he has really struggled to shoot the ball to start his NBA career. That being said, the Hawks' offense does not change whether Richichet is on or off the floor right now. Um, that being said, I think this guy's a really good shooter. I think when he gets his shot going a little bit, they will be a positive offensively when he's on the floor. And then defensively, when he's on the floor, they are 1.5 points better per 100 possessions when Zachary Richichet is on the floor. Eye test wise, this guy looks like he knows the game of basketball really well already. Um, I'm not out on this guy whatsoever. I like Zachary Richichet. At number 3, I have Stefan Castle. Um, we mentioned the Spurs playing pretty well. Their offense is 5 points better when Stefan Castle is on the floor. that is really strong, and especially from a rookie player. Um, I really like what I'm seeing out of Steph Castle on defensively. They're a little bit better when he's off the floor. Some of that is because of the split with Wemby and Zach Collins minutes. He's actually played a lot more with Zach Collins than Wemby due to Wemby missing some games and coming off the bench a lot more with Zach Collins. Overall, the Spurs have been really good defensively when Wemby's on the floor and really bad when he isn't. Um, I don't think Steph Castle being a -2 defensively has much to do with Steph Castle. Number 2, Jared McCain. I mean, we talked about him. Like, his volume scoring's great. This was like the one thing that I didn't think was going to be his NBA strength, and he's already doing it. I always comped him to Kyle Lowry. He's playing with Kyle Lowry. He looks like Kyle Lowry right now playing. Jared McCain looks like he's going to be a great NBA player forever, and I hate that he's on Philadelphia. They did it again. Just draft blue blood guards, and you will be perfectly fine. It feels like. We talked about his stats, just pure box score stuff. He shoots the ball crazy well. +6 on offense, so they're 6 points better per 100 possessions when he's on the floor on offense, and then -1 on defense, give or take. Like, that's probably not much. He just looks like a great offensive initiator. I'm sure he will be a great player for a long time. And then number 1 for me is Zach Edey. Specifically, like, this guy, do you take a guess what Zach Edey's true shooting percentage is?
60.
That's exactly right.
Come on.
On a really good Memphis team, he has an 11 net rating, which leads the team. It just his size and strength is kind of like, you can't take that away, right? And teams are really struggling to contain Edey. That's why he's number 1. I'm sure, like, at the very minimum, this guy's a solid backup center, a 7'4" and a Scanter, like, and he's so far defensively hasn't seemed that bad either. Like, he seems pretty good.
and his freedom, by the way.
Oh, and you're right. He was pretty good, man. Don't sleep on Ennis Freedom.
He was good until the Turkish mafia was trying to kill him, and he couldn't, like, go to different. I remember we played y'all in, like, a game in London or something, and he couldn't go. We played overseas somewhere, and, like, he literally couldn't travel with the team because the government put a hit out on him or something. And, like, ever since that happened, his career is just, like, never thought
Yeah.
about. You said Ennis Cantor, and the lore just started spewing out.
Yeah, Ennis Cantor, he was a good post player. He can play defense. I think Edey's a better defensive player than that. So to start the first rookie ladder, Donovan Clingan with an honorable mention of Devin Carr or of Ryan Dunn, Zachary Richardson, Steph Castle, Jared McCain, Zach Edey. I think these guys are going to be really good NBA players for the rest of their careers. And I think that's what we're going to look for with this draft, because Richardson went number 1, and his projection was, a really good role player. This is going to be a draft class where you're looking for really good NBA players. So, I had one more team to talk about, and I think it relates to the MVP ladder that you have.
You never know.
The Denver Nuggets.
Okay. Yeah.
They started the year horribly. They couldn't play defense. They couldn't shoot the ball. Then they realized they have the best player in the league by far, and they have not been losing games since then. What do we have on Denver? It seems like they revived their season after seeming dead.
One second. I've been tuned into the Denver games.
For me, I'll go here.
Let Let me get some.
defensively, they look a lot better since their first 4 games. I think they started 1-3. Since then, they look so much better defensively. I think that they did have the roster to do that. It's just they weren't doing that at the start of the year. You lose KCP, guys have to shift in. Braun has to go from a bench player to a starter. He has to adjust his role there. Um, just once they meshed, it just seems like they're back at that level where it's like it doesn't matter that there's 7 players deep. Like they're gonna get everything they need out of those 7 players. Um, if you saw on the news the other day, Russell Westbrook scored 200 points. They don't have the film for the game, so we can't show you the highlights. But yeah, Russell Westbrook scored 200. You got the film?
Yeah, it'll be in our Patreon. If y'all want to tap in, to be honest. For that, that's an exclusive pass package, so it's like 800 for that film. But y'all just tap into the links. Tap into the links below. If y'all want that.
All of the money will go towards fixing Russell Westbrook's jumper. Uh, no, but he's been shooting the ball a lot better this season.
Yeah.
Or at least better for his past couple seasons. Russell Westbrook's been giving them good minutes too, especially the past couple
I have
weeks.
kind of like it's a question. I don't know if it
Okay,
has like any. Jamal Murray.
what's going on?
What should the Nuggets do? Should they keep him? Because I like this Nuggets team is good, but if they had someone else at point guard, I feel like they could be a lot better. The 2-man game with Jokic is nice, but he just became so inefficient scoring the ball, like just shooting in general. I think he's shooting like 40% from the field right now. But it's just not really what we're used to. I don't know.
Yeah,
It was just kind of just something I wanted to toss out there.
I'm
Shooting
concerned
under
with Murray
five
too.
percent from three, like it's not Jamal Murray that we know.
Yeah, this is kind of what we saw during the playoffs last year. Murray goes cold a little bit. The Nuggets get a lot worse. I am concerned as well. I think it will stabilize a little bit as he fully recovers from whatever was going on to start the year and during the off season. He had a knee procedure like kind of late into the off season, I believe. Um, I'm not completely out on Jamal Murray yet. I will say we'll know come playoff time what to expect out of Jamal Murray, and just because that's what we're expecting playoff time doesn't mean I think he's cooked for the rest of his career. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like I'm fully convinced that with a fully healthy offseason next year, without the weird Team Canada stuff, he'll come into the year playing a lot better. It seemed like the weirdest like 6 month span ever
so
for
like
Jamal
just
Murray.
don't overreact right now. Just pump the
Yeah,
brake.
and honestly, like the season might be kind of like this might just be how his season is for the rest of the year. Um, I don't think it counts him out for
Revenge tour
next
for
year. Not
next year.
every pro athlete is Joe Burrow, where they can just start the year playing at a shitty level and then become an MVP candidate randomly. Like very few guys do that. Jason Tatum does that. Jason Tatum loves to start the year looking like a D League player. He didn't do that this year though. That'll probably get us to the MVP ladder. I'll let you go ahead with that.
Should I start from bottom to top or top to bottom? Bottom to top.
Five
I'll
five
go
to
bottom.
one.
All right. So this is a guy that you just talked about actually. Start off, we got the MVP ladder. At number 5, Jason Tatum. He's averaging 29 points per game, 8 rebounds, 5.9 assists. He's been shooting lights. He's been shooting really good from the 3-point line, near 40%. He has the Celtics as a top seed. They just beat the Celtics. Really good stuff from Jason Tatum. But wasn't as good as number 4. And okay. I'm kind of probably shouldn't put him at 4. Probably should put him at 3, but I'm putting him at 4 just because I have a kind of a case for the guy at 3. But it's SGA at 3. Um, SGA has been he's even taken a step up when Chet was out and just helped the Thunder not like absolutely crash and burn like I think a lot of people thought was going to happen when he went out. He's averaging 28 points per game, 5 assists, 6 steals. Oh, jeez, 6 assists, and he's also a really good defender as a guard. 1.8 steals, 1.1 blocks. He's an efficient shooter. He's This is going to be a fun playoff team. I think the Thunder are going to be fun in the playoffs, especially because Hardenstein's back. Hardenstein's been him and Chet. That's that one. But for 3, that's where I got Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. Sorry, I was like, I'm on the fence whether to put Shy at 3 or not, just because Giannis, while he's so good at getting to the free throw line, his free throw percentage is terrible. Like he's not very good at converting on them, whereas Shy is really good free throw shooter. Obviously, Shy has the 3-pointers and the assists, but I don't know, man. I just think Giannis. If you keep an eye on the Bucks, they're 6-9 now. They're turning it around a little bit, just day by day. They're getting a little bit better, And Giannis is like a real leader. I don't know if this is something that you kind of take into account when doing this, but I mean, he's willing this team to win. And then when this team is a top 4 seed at the end of the season, it will be only because of Giannis, who's just, I mean, he's averaging 32 right now. I mean, he'll probably be able to maintain that, maybe even get 1 or 2 more points per game. His rebounding numbers are really good. I really like Giannis at 3. Yeah, that's my case for Giannis over Shea. Even though if you say Shea over Giannis, that is not crazy at all, and it's probably what a lot of people think. I just think that Giannis just has the ability to just will his team to win more, and he's just single handedly the only reason why the Bucks are good. I mean, Dame's there as well, but yeah, if you're watching, you see what he's doing. At number 2, we have Anthony Davis. Man, AD's looking after coming off a year where he was second in DPOY voting. He's looking like he might be able to win it this year, and not only that, he's been shooting lights out and has been playing really good offense. He's averaging 1.9 blocks per game, 1.2 steals. He's averaging 31 points per game, along with 11 rebounds. He's shooting 43% from the 3-point line, Patrick. 57% from the field. The Lakers are good, man, and it's because of LeBron and AD. And it's probably no, it's not more because of AD. But if AD can just keep staying healthy, okay, and maybe wear some glasses so he doesn't get poked in the eye every time he tries to block a ball. This is a serious this is a real serious candidate for MVP. This is probably the only guy that can threat who I have at number 1. That is Nikola Jokic. Like I said before, he's just the most unstoppable player on a basketball court. He has 29 points per game, 13 rebounds, 11 assists. He's averaging a triple-double. He's also puts up good defensive numbers. I mean, 1.7 steals per game. He's averaging a block per game. He's shooting 56% from the 3-point line. I'm sure that's on low attempts, but still very impressive. His efficient field goal percentage is very good. He's converting at the free throw line. The Joker is what is it? Third, fourth MVP?
Fourth. Yeah.
Fourth. I'm hearing a lot of this voter fatigue thing. I'm hearing a lot about this voter fatigue. I don't know, man. I don't know how you can deny this kind of greatness.
Me personally, I don't like the voter fatigue in this situation because, oh my God, he's peaking at an all-time level. I think it's very underrated, the fact that, I don't know, we might be seeing the best offensive player ever right now.
It's
like
so
ever.
weird.
and he plays very unorthodox. I think that plays a part into it. Um, I mean, this might be the best 5-year run from a center ever, and that says a lot. I think his defense has gotten so much better, specifically in the past 3 years. I think he's actually like a slight positive on that end of the floor. Uh, Jokic is awesome, and I think he should win. Honestly, he should have won 5 in a row. Uh,
What
if
one
he
did
wins this one, he lost to a guy who I was going to bring up after. He lost to Embiid 2 years ago. I feel like it probably should have maybe been Jokic.
Oh yeah, yeah, I remember that. That's because I think it's because every time they played, Embiid just outplayed them.
Yeah, they played once head to head, and the Sixers
Yeah,
won that
he dropped
game.
like 30. He got a good game too.
Whatever, man. Embiid, he's come back. He was on a minutes restriction. He isn't playing heavy minutes still. Um, they haven't won a game with him. We're not allowed to talk about the 76ers. That's a rule that we made, but we're allowed to talk about their players. How has Embiid looked for you?
The same.
I agree.
I don't know if that's a weird claim to make, but this is not the Embiid that I would see just like it would go to work on like centers with the mid range game, with the 3-point game that could get to the basket. That was an actual like force that you were scared of. Just he's not the same. He's played in 4 games. He's only gone over 20 points in one of those games. Not what we're used to seeing from Embiid. And I thought that the Bucks were in real trouble starting the season off bad. I think it's the 76ers, Patrick. Because, I mean, they just really can't do anything. And they have Embiid back. They had Paul George back. I mean, Paul George is hurt now. But even with Embiid playing, I don't know. This is not the same guy. And with all of his injuries, I mean, it's kind of hard. It's hard to, like, I mean, saying not the same guy is just crazy because, like, all that he's had to go through. I mean, no one likes the guy at all. So, but, I mean, you can understand why I think you can understand why there is a regression for sure, but
Yeah.
you should point out that there is one. You do need to point out that there is one.
Yeah, I'm concerned with specifically just his play. Um, I think we'll give it time. I think it's very similar to the Jamal Murray thing, where like he's had a crazy really a calendar year now for him has been crazy. Um, I think we'll know by playoff time what to expect out of Embiid for this season. He really needs a full healthy off season. Do you have any other things that you want to bring up before we wrap this one up?
Make sure make sure I didn't miss anything.
Yeah. Um,
Nah, I think I threw everything down. I think I said everything I wanted to talk about. This is a crazy NBA season. Like I'm trying, like this is like it's just so weird because like no, I don't even know.
it's been a great
I don't
start.
even know what to say. I can't even describe it. It's been like so crazy. Not weird. I think crazy is a better way to word it. Not weird, but it's been so crazy.
It's like all of the things that you thought would happen, like the 90% chance things that you thought would happen just didn't happen. And all the things
Yeah,
that you were like,
maybe.
there's like a 10% chance that happens, like all of those happened. It's been so crazy. Um, yeah. We're like in this season. Next week's episode, I think it is late enough into the season to start talking about trades. So I think we're gonna start talking about trades next next episode. Um, there will
Just
be
wait for. Just want to give the audience a little preview of when I figure out the way for the Wizards to get Jonathan Kuminga with the deal of Jonas Valanciunas and Johnny Davis. I'm still working on that though, so y'all stay tuned.
you're just digging up the dirt on the Golden State Warriors before you get that one done.
I'm
Um,
getting all of Steve Kerr's leaked messages. I'm about to leak all of his DMs. So get
yeah,
done.
because then they'll have to make the deal
You
then.
guys are about
So
to find out why Jason Tatum really didn't play in the Olympics.
all right. Um, Yeah, before all of the daylight goes away and I go invisible. We're gonna wrap this one up, y'all see Finn and I's MLB episode. That'll be a top 100 review of my 2024 list. I'll probably have a bunch of takes that aged horribly, and then yeah, next NBA episode will be trade talks. We will see you guys then. Signing off.